All right, coming up after the break, we want you to join the conversation. We're talking about some teachers who've gone above and beyond to inspire, connect, and make learning truly unforgettable. And it was this video that inspired the conversation. Oh yeah, 6-7 in the classroom.
This mean all about me though. When I sailed out to sea to do some pirate radio in that same year, they said it was a no-no. Baloo taught me better from the Jungle Book, making you walk.
So some of our guests later in the show who released this video got us thinking about teachers who went above and beyond to connect with their students. And in today's example, we're going to talk to teachers who've incorporated the viral phrase 6-7 into their classroom by choice. Can't wait for that conversation.
Yeah, but before we get there, is there a teacher you remember who helped you learn something in either an unconventional or a way that really connected with you? Email us at now@cp24.com, and we'll share some of those responses this morning. I certainly remember in music, My Dog Has Fleas is how you'd remember the notes. My dog has fleas. And for the treble clef and the bass clef, there were also different little sayings that went along to remember all the notes on the lines and things like that. So yeah, music for me was somewhere where it was really helpful. I forget what they call it when you have the first letter of each word to remind you what something is. It's
can't remember.
Clearly didn't work.
Literally, I need a
refresher.
I
need a refresher on that one.
That's okay. It was you. I'm terrible with names, so I'm still working on that.
What's your name again?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lisa. Nice to meet you. I didn't actually realize this was going to be this illicit. I thought we were talking more about the 6-7.
Oh,
so this is totally throwing me off guard.
We try. Keep you honest.
So why don't you go, Nick, and then maybe I'll think more.
So a couple of things for me. Mr. Johnson in grade 4 and 5 did this really great game in math to get us to work on memorizing our multiplication tables. And I can't remember what it was called, like the train game or something, but basically you stood up in class, you went to the front left desk, and then it was like he just like hit you with multiplication. And it was like, 4 times 4, 16. And it was a competition to see if you could go basically beat all the kids in the class. And then if you lost, you sat down, the next person stood up. And like if you could get to go up and down all the rows. And it was just, it really brought up my competitive fire. And I remember going through the class a couple of times and just wanting to have the multiplication tables, down pat memorized. And I'm actually going through that with Jack right now, trying to get him to memorize that, because multiplication is key to so many different things, but it's just one of those, like, this memory tool that was great. The other one was in French, and I just thought about this, like the surtout, devant, derrière, like the whole hand gesture really made me remember the different, like, what is that, like direction or facing things or something? I don't even know what it is now, but I know the words and I know what it is, but it was like a whole song, like a rhyming song they had, and that's how I remember things. But whole 6-7, I mean, Jack was, before the redistribution this year, in a 6-7 split class. So you can only imagine the nightmares that teacher would be having with 6-7 every,
But
second.
I wonder how the teachers are using that as a help mechanism.
These guys call themselves the Hip Hop Headucatorz. So they're not maybe conventional teachers, but they've got an unconventional way, and they're just embracing it, and that gets kids listening to it, right?
Some dictionary made it the word of the year.
Yeah, which is not really a word. We talked about that. It's not even a word. And so that's what's in. Well, it's not. It's two words, 6 and 7.
Well, 6-7. I mean, they have taken things and kind of mashed them together.
And the definition of it is so random that people aren't even clear, even if the etymology is it, did it start over here, or was it these rappers here, or was it an MB? Like, it's a whole, where is it, what is it, right?
Yeah,
so
this could be a compound word if it can only be used together. Like, there are words that are two different words that, when they're only used together, become one word.
I guess. I'm sure it's something that is going to become more of a thing, because obviously it's been made a thing.
I think it's going to be a thing, and then it's not going to be a thing, and we're going to get to the next thing, right? I mean,
and that's when I'll finally figure out when it's not a thing anymore.
Yeah. Facts.
It's kind of like
I'm still trying to work
it's borderline jumping the shark as it is.
Yeah,
so
basically.
Have you come up with a...
No, not at all. I had teachers that, I don't really remember anything off the top of my head, so I'll just leave it to you guys. Sometimes
that's okay. I mean, sometimes it's just not like
it's
right
not really
there
sticking in my head right now. Nothing's really sticking out for me. I had teachers that were impactful, that helped me learn certain things, but nothing that's really like, oh, it was this that did that for me. Although what's interesting to your point is that you're now implying what you learned with Jack, and so I find like a lot of the learning now, they don't use things like that anymore. And so that's what's interesting, is that that's stuck with you, and now you can pass it on to Jack, and hopefully that will help him in a different style of learning.
Names and faces, though, I literally try every time to, and I think we've had people on the show that have said, so if it's Nick and you're wearing like a blue striped tie or something, I try to position that with something that will bring giving me back your name. And it's like, you take something to identify.
Bill, I'm Lisa, and so like saying the name again kind of helps.
That helps, but I've heard much more of like picking something about the person and it categorizes a different
leopard,
visual. Lisa Leopard L.
That's how I think
I'm still working on it.
That works.
Names can be a challenge. Okay, so join the conversation now at CP24.com. Talk to remind us of something a teacher did for you to sort of help you learn something in perhaps a little more of an unconventional way.
6, 7, 6, 7.
Hands are slow juggling all over the place right now. Some of our guests later on the show this morning got us thinking about teachers who went above and beyond to connect with their students. And in today's example, we're going to have a conversation with some teachers who've incorporated the viral phrase 6, 7 into their classroom by choice. Really looking forward to that conversation.
But before we get there, is there a teacher you remember who helped you learn something in either an unconventional or a way that really connected with you? Email us at now@cp24.com. We'll share some of those responses this morning, including this one from Drinda. Good morning, Drinda.
Hi,
saying, I have to say that my 3 adult children had such a wonderful experience at school because of all the wonderful teachers they had. I could name so many that helped influence them into the adults they are today. My daughter really never enjoyed math and science until grade 7 and 8. Her teacher then gave her the confidence she needed in order to make a mistake and feel like it was okay. Today, my daughter is a nurse and absolutely loves math and science. All I have to say is thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Drinda.
Yeah. Stephanie chiming in this morning with my 2nd and 3rd grade teacher, Miss Parliament, taught me math and how to write in cursive letters. She was tough but kind to her students. I've never forgotten her lessons.
All right. Heather says, Mrs. V, my grade 10 math teacher. My high school did a remedial math program and she got us all through it. And I believe we all got exempt from exams that year. All right, Mrs. V. Yeah.
All right, Kathleen writes this, saying, my grade 6 teacher named Miss Frankie Shernan was the best. My father had just died and I was in deep depression and started acting out and just not being me. And she brought me a journal and told me to put my feelings into words. She cared so much for her students and took us all to her home and bought us pizza. We absolutely loved her.
Wow.
Amazing. Anthony chiming in with, I fondly remember my English teacher, Diane Kay, who posed a question about poetry and whether modern people had a better perspective about it than the ancients. It taught me not to make assumptions about one's point of view. Also, a shout out to Mr. Baginski, who taught our class never to assume by breaking down the word.
Yes, we know that one, absolutely.
Yep.
Janky writing in saying, my high school geography teacher's way to help us remember the planets and the sequence. M, men. V, very. E, easily. M, make. J, jars. S, serve. U, useful. N, necessary. P, purposes. Okay, so...
Men make useful, very, jars necessary, easily serve purposes.
Okay, yeah, there's those little tricks there. And for the colors of the rainbow, Roy Gabiv, right? Run, on, you, girls, boys, in, view. I remember that one. Still remember that 45 plus years later. Thank you to all the teachers, especially my high school geography teacher.
Roy Gabiv. I
still remember that to this day, right?
Oh, really?
I remember it was like on a test, I think, in grade 6. Yeah, I don't know why they test you on what color the rainbows are, but it was something to do with like spectrum of light. And Roy Gabiv just sticks with me.
I've never heard that ever.
You obviously learned a lot of French growing up in Montreal.
Yeah,
Mrs. Dr. Vandertramp, remember that? I remember that across the top of my grade 7 French immersion class. It was something to do with I can't even remember any of it now.
I remember the song for the months of the year: January, February, March, and April, May, June, July, and August, September, October, November, December. Those are months of the year. No?
See, you did. You did learn something.
Yeah.
I don't remember who taught me that, though.
I just remembered the months of the year. I didn't, but hey, the song works too.
Okay.
All right, thank you for the conversation. More CP24.
The alphabet had one too.
In November, coming up right after this. The alphabet too. Numbers. Sesame Street was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes, the count.
Well, if the viral and seemingly random phrase 6, 7 is sending you over the edge as a parent, well, just imagine what it's like to be a teacher right now, and bonus points if you teach a 6-7 split class.
In that same year, they said it was a no-no. Baloo taught me better from the Jungle Book.
But instead of plugging their ears, our next guests embraced the trend and have incorporated it into their lessons. They call themselves Hip Hop Headucatorz, and this isn't their first foray into blending learning with rhyme. Joining us live this morning, Andrew Gerge, Chase March, and Michael Gransu, the Hip Hop Headucatorz. Gents, thanks for being here this morning. Good to talk about this. Michael, I'll start with with you. The idea of taking 6, 7, which drives a lot of parents and teachers kind of up the bend, but gets a lot of students' attention. Where did you get the idea to sort of put this song together and then try to incorporate it into teaching?
Well, actually, I have to slide that to Chase. That was Chase's the brainchild of that particular song.
So Chase, go ahead, take it away.
Thanks. Yeah, I was tired of 6, 7, just like what it doesn't mean anything. So I'd ask my students, what does it mean? And they couldn't explain it, and they just acted like I was crazy, like I didn't know what I was talking about. So then at the end of the day one day, I was like, you know what, I'm going to make it mean something. What if we did a song about 1967 instead? So I went to the thrift store, I found a record from 1967, sampled it to make the beat, and got these two guys on the song, and we talked about 1967, dropped a bunch of historical references and some Canadian ones, and made the video, and it's catching on.
All right, and it's a big year. 1967 is a significant year as well. So Andrew, what's your involvement here? How did you get online?
I pretty much was along for the ride here.
Okay.
He came up with the idea, pitched it to the rest of the group. We thought it was kind of neat to jump on this kind of topic. I wrote a few bars, sent it to him. He liked it. And then came right over to my house. We recorded the track, and this is it here.
What's the response been then?
Well, it's been amazing. The students really engaged. The first time we played the song, the first couple seconds they were laughing and silly and giggling. But then as it settled into the second verse and getting a little deeper into it, it was pin drops, really quiet. You could really hear that they were zoning in and connecting to it. And then also to shout out Wizekrak, he made a remix version of it too, with the lyrics actually on the screen. So we then watched the remix version, and dead silence. Everybody's reading, trying to understand everything, so they were really engaged.
And it's almost a trick, isn't it, to teach them by song, by catching onto the zeitgeist of whatever 6, 7 is, but it's also getting the kids' attention and getting them to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way. It's just, I don't necessarily look at it as a trick, just a way to engage the students, just to teach a lesson about rhyming couplets, things like that. You know, get them involved in the poetry in an interesting way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Were you
we got to find a hook, something that connects with them. And I want to shout out Sham. Like a couple days before Chase even mentioned the idea of the song, one of my students at the end of the day, we're waiting for the bell. She's like, do you know any Gen Z slang? I'm like, no. And then she taught me about clock it. She taught me about 6, 7. And then just the timing lined up, because a few days later, Chase was like, yo, let's do a song on 6, 7. And I'm like, I think this was meant to be, right?
Yeah. And Chase, this is not the first time you've sort of incorporated rhyme into teaching. Can you give us a bit of like how you realized it clicked the first time and why you continue to do it then?
Well, when you're hip hop, it's just kind of in you to do, right?
Yeah.
So I was an instrumental music teacher, and every year I do a different genre of music. And I did blues one year, and I was like, let's do hip hop. So I started using it in the classroom. I had like kind of a hip hop choir. I taught them a song, but instead of singing, we were rapping. And then we started doing some of our own writing. And it's really cool just to be able to bring this into the classroom, because it's kind of the first time in history where, you know, parents and students like the same kind of music. Right?
It's true.
So like my dad didn't like rap music, but he liked a few of the artists that I started to like. So even though some of the kids are listening to different artists than we may be listening to, we can still find a way to connect with them and bring in that youth culture and have an effect in the classroom.
Yeah, what have you seen, Andrew, personally?
In a similar way, I run a rap and poetry club at the school where I get the kids involved in writing their own rhymes, writing their bars, making their own beats, and then bringing it together as a song. So it's just a neat way to teach poetry, get them performing in a new kind of way. So
it's pretty inspiring, isn't it, Michael, to see the connection you've been able to make here and making, you know, the language, the words, the music relevant to students.
Most definitely, and it goes two ways, inspiration, because it's not just about them studying our music. We give them challenges to write their own rhymes on certain topics. And I was blessed to perform with a couple of our students at the When Faith Meets Pedagogy, a big conference of all Ontario Catholic schools. And just before we were about to go on, I was kind of tired. And the students themselves, they rallied the troops. They said, yo, let's practice, let's run it again, And that sparked my battery. So it goes both ways, the inspiration.
That's amazing. Hey, you guys are an inspiring cast of characters. I really appreciate you joining us this morning. Do we do a 6, 7 before we go?
Sure.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
6, 7.
Stay great.
There we go. All right, that's a great conversation. Thank you all for being here. We're back with more breakfast.